All right, everybody. Welcome to the Biz Breaks Podcast on the Cosmos Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin the Credit Crusher. I have a special guest. My co-host, Nakia Neal, a financial expert, will not be on today. She's taking care of some important business. But we have a special guest in the house. Erik Truxon. He's not actually in the house. We are doing this remotely. So welcome, Erik Truxon. He is the owner, the founder, the runner, the electrician extraordinaire from Justice Electric. He's done an incredible job with his business, and I can't wait to talk to him about it and talk about how he got into that. Before we get into that, Erik, I just want to let everybody know this is the Biz Breaks Podcast. We have real talk with real entrepreneurs, and we're here every Thursday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, Erik, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. And just to let you know, Kevin, I mean that outstanding introduction, your check is in the mail.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. We're doing. Listen. I need you to send it Bitcoin. That's we're going cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency. I'm trying to learn more about that. So we'll talk about that. So Erik, you and I have been friends. I consider us friends, and we've been friends for several years now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I want you to tell the audience, for those who don't know you, because a lot of people, you're a famous person, very well known. But for those people who may not know you that are in our audience, tell people who Erik Truxon is and how you got to Just It's Electric.
All right. Well, my name is Erik Truxon, and I am Just It's Electric. And when I say I am, many people who are entrepreneurs, if they're really into it, or if they're business owners, that's what they eat, sleep, and drink and live. I mean, a time will not go by where Erik will not be talking about Just It's Electric, and in particular, owning your own business, especially someone coming from a community similar to the one that I came from, which is Southwest Philly, quote unquote, one of the best communities out there. At the time I was there, I'm not far. I'm still in West Philly, just not on Southwest. So I'm a product of the Philadelphia school system. Went to Central High School, class of '82, which is anyone who went there, I would say 241, and they immediately know what I'm talking about. Also, I'm a product of Drexel University, a product of quite a few things that I have done. But the one thing I always come back to is owning your own business. And I just think that's very important for everyone to be introduced to the opportunity to do that. And so important that our company actually each year gives away a scholarship to the best essay writers, to put it bluntly, where we have undergraduate, even graduate students, full-time students write an essay on owning your own business, however they see it. They don't have to own one, but they write about it, and we give them a scholarship, basically. So that's kind of who I am.
So I want to break in, and I apologize for cutting you off and interrupting you. So wait a minute. You skipped over a few things. So you said product of Philadelphia public schools. You said Drexel University, and then you were getting ready to say a product, some other thing. Don't skip past those things. So what other things have you done? Because I know you are classmates in a program with a good friend of mine, Des Shields. And Des, if you're watching, shout out to you. I'm going to definitely have you on the show. She's a great friend of mine, been a friend of mine for over 30 years. And so I know you guys went in class. So tell us some of the other things that you've done in addition to the wonderful high school and graduate college thing.
Now the other thing is the Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses class. I'm a product of that program. I went through that program, and in that light, I met quite a few people who are great people, as well as Des Shields, who's another great person, and just found out that we had something in common. what else have I done? I'm just a big proponent of the community and of keeping our people together. And, when I say our people, I could say urban people, I can say people in Philadelphia. And of course, the biggest one is Black people.
There you go.
Because that's what I'm all of those things. But the one thing that I don't have to say, and is Black person.
Right. Right. Because it is obvious, it is abundantly clear. That's where you go. So Erik, have you ever worked for a company outside of?
Yes, I mean when I went through an apprenticeship to become an electrician.
Okay.
While I was and I worked through a union actually, and several companies. Some of them may not be around now because I guess that would kind of date me. I've worked at Pico while I was in undergrad school with what you call a co-op program, where you got a chance to go out and see if you wanted to do that or not, whether it be engineering or commerce and engineering or whatever. At that time, the co-op program was relatively new. Now it's probably been around for years and years. I've worked in a gym for a number of years as a fitness instructor slash cycling instructor. That's one of my passions too. This pandemic has shifted us a little bit, but we just understand that we can't really control how long we're going to be here. We can't really control anything, but we always want to have a certain quality of life while we're here.
So Erik, we may see you on one of those Peloton instructor commercials.
That's not my forte, but that's what I do. I don't think I would want to be on one of those commercials and in an empty room instructing, because I like to feed off of people. But yes, that's what I do.
Gotcha. So Erik, when did you know that entrepreneurship was the path for you?
The first time that I hit a glass ceiling that I could not do anything about on the job.
Tell me more about that.
So, in many situations, how can I put it? You're working with people who are smart. You're smart too, and somehow they're doing better than you, and better than you, and better than you, and you're not getting what you feel you deserve. Now, that doesn't mean that it's just unjust or whatever, but I just felt I could do better. Okay. That makes sense.
And when was that? What point?
Okay, so that was during my time in working out in the field for another electrical contractor.
Okay.
Basically, plenty of times. I relatively young became a foreman and did some other things, and I just felt I could do more. And I will do what I need to do, but I know it's a lot. It feels better for me, even though I work much harder, to be able to look in the mirror to a certain degree and determine your own destiny more so than look to someone else, especially sometimes that someone else may not have your best interests at heart.
Sure. So I know that there are a lot of times where business owners become business owners because they have a great skill, but that skill does not translate into business ownership. So how did you make the transition from being an electrician to being the owner of a business that provides electrical service assistance? And what is the major difference?
Okay, boy, that's a loaded question, because if I was Superman, that would be my kryptonite. So when I say that, I would say, not that I don't do well, I do phenomenal, but my personal belief is If I had chose basket weaving, because I know nothing about basket weaving, if I had chose Bitcoin, because I know nothing about Bitcoin, I would maybe have moved along a little farther because I enjoy being an electrician. So I keep going back to it and it keeps like pulling me in when I should just be the business owner only. But that's a fight that many of us fight. But on the other hand, I've been doing this for 40 years. And if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be able to do it for 40 years.
So you bring up a good point. Not like I said, this is when we talked before the broadcast came on, I was saying this is a conversation, right? It's a dialogue between us and the audience. And so I have found it is very difficult. I, like you, love credit. I love the power that credit brings. I love when my clients on the business side get access to hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of credit on the personal side, when they're able to get the things that they want to get, the house. Usually that's what people come to me for. They get the house. When they're successful, I love it every single day. And so I find it difficult for me to turn that part of the business over to somebody else completely. But I know that I need to, Erik, because I want to go to another level. And in order for me to go to another level, I need to focus my energy, my money, my time, my effort into the things that need to get me there. And so I think I hear you saying something similar. So how have you overcome the challenge that brings? Loving what you do, but not having but being able to turn over what you do to somebody else so that you can do the thing that you need to do to get everybody else where you want them to go.
Well, honestly, I haven't overcome it. So
real talk.
So what I do is I just keep it in perspective, and each year, or really each quarter, when I do my spreadsheet on how I'm doing, and I look at that, and I beat myself up for a minute, and I might get a little 6 months in, and then I come back. But that's where your coaches come in, and that's where your talks like this talk right here come in, where we go over those things and we keep it going. I'm a strong proponent in job education. So therefore, although I learn my craft, I have to learn that craft also, and it's just reinforced by conversations like this here.
Which is why we started the Biz Breaks podcast. So, I have a partner, Nike, and again, she's not able to be on today, but we were talking. She's a business owner. I'm a business owner. We have a lot of friends who are business owners, and we found that a lot of business owners have similar challenges. No matter what industry they're in, they have similar challenges. And so we wanted to come and highlight the reality of business ownership, particularly in the social media space, Erik, because on social media, you're seeing a bunch of highlight reels, right? You're seeing a bunch of people who are doing well. I'm not going to, of course, and I'm guilty of it just like everybody else is. I'm not going to post on social media when a client said that they weren't satisfied with the service, right? Even though that happens. I'm not going to post on social media when I made a mistake in my business that cost me thousands of dollars, even though I did that once. But that's not what I'm going to post on a daily basis. What you're going to see on a daily basis is how well Promethean is doing, right? But we all know that there have been times when our businesses, there were some obstacles that we had to overcome, right? Or some things that we had to learn by making mistakes, right? So we wanted to start this. We started this podcast because we wanted to have those real conversations. And you saying, even with the great level of success that you have, and to my audience, I know Erik's business intimately, and I know that he's doing very well, particularly in the electric space, right? Your company has all of the things in place that all of the other companies out there that we look to are supposed to have in place, right? And you have gotten to a revenue level that would be a success for most people, right? I know it's not the revenue level that you're going. It's not where you're going because I'm continually watching you glow up. But and by the way, you just in 2021 won an award. You won an award for something. What was it?
Oh, one of the top 100 growing companies, fastest growing companies in Philadelphia. That was a big surprise and a big thing.
I mean, we got to celebrate that. You better.
Oh, thank you. I would have never expected when I got the call that would happen, but it just validates what you're doing.
Philadelphia's 100 fastest rising companies, and that's a huge feat. So don't make no mistake about it. Just because it has the Philadelphia in front of it, there are thousands of businesses in the city of Philadelphia, and you are in the top 100 fastest rising. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. I wanted to make sure we highlighted that because
wow,
that's a feat. There's a lot of competition in all different industries. You're not just one of the 100 fastest electric companies, one of the 100 fastest companies. So that's a huge deal.
Yeah, that keeps us going. That keeps us all going. I mean, we're all doing things for self gratification, but you still want to, you can't see what people see in you.
Sure. But that said, even with winning those, you still struggle with the challenge of how to run the company and still be working in the company at the same time. And so what keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night is that right there, trying to make the transition, because I have to get my business ownership job done, definitely. But if I'm out and about during the day, getting my electrician on, so to speak, I still got to get that work done. So I'm up all night pounding it, and every once in a while I beat myself up about the fact that, man, I got to turn this over to whomever. But it's difficult. We just have to learn. I always look at it in perspective that just say what I do, I might be at 95% efficiency, but that's one person 95% efficiency. We have 10 employees altogether, including myself, because I consider myself an employee. So if we even go down to 70 or 65 or even 50% efficiency of 10, last I checked, that's more than 95 of one. But it's easy to say it, but it's hard to actually do it. Because you love what you're doing and you don't want to let go of your baby. I mean, besides my marriage and my daughter, the birth of my business is like the biggest things in my life, believe it or not.
So Erik, you have a team of 10. Congratulations on that too. That's a huge accomplishment. So when you started, what did your team consist of?
Me.
And how did you get to 10 employees?
Because I needed to expand. Wow. I needed to expand and I needed to grow in order to do that. And I just started getting more and more work that I cannot do myself. And also, I can't go out and get more work if I'm doing everything myself.
So how did you determine, because this is an issue that I think every entrepreneur I talked to, 9 out of 10 of them said they had difficulty determining the revenue that they needed to be able to support a team. How did you come up with the equation? What was the revenue that you needed to get to be able to support the first person you brought on as an employee? And how did you calculate that?
The first person I brought on as an employee, that was sort of hook or crook. So I was still working full time and doing my business, I guess part time, but more so full time. So most likely I was financing that initially.
Got you.
So, but what happens is, like I had mentioned earlier, I'm all in on job education. You know what I mean? We've taken numerous courses at Wharton. We've taken courses at Community. We've scanned the internet at different times or looked at emails and said, yeah, we need to go ahead and take that course. And that's above and beyond education as an engineer and as a electrician. You know, those schools are great, but I need to know what I'm doing as far as running a business.
Ooh, you said something. Now you said something. You put me onto something. So you not only invest in electrical and engineering education, but you're investing in business education, whether it be an investment in time, an investment in money, or both.
So yeah, probably more so than electric.
Got you. And so you would advise somebody who's running a business, particularly a small business, to go out and get connected to the well. So let me not speculate. Let me ask. So I heard you say the internet, and the internet is inundated with information, which is good and bad. But tell us about some of the offline, the non-internet resources that you have solicited to get education.
Well, the city of Philadelphia also always offers different workshops and things of that nature through this one program. One of the courses I took was Rebuild. And Rebuild, basically, you go through an opportunity to do business with the city on all of these projects that you see going around at community centers, libraries, playgrounds, places like that. And I get a chance to bid on some electric work. And what happens is, the one thing that we always say, I mean, it's an age-old saying, knowledge is power. So when you take a course that's geared towards someone and what they're offering, and they want you to use it for them, just keep in mind, even after you're done using it for them, or in the event you decide not to use it for them, it's not like somebody goes and pulls it out of your brain and you don't have that knowledge anymore. Right. You can always use it for yourself.
Okay. The Goldman Sachs program, what kind of impact did it have on your business?
That one is a big one. The Goldman Sachs program, the biggest thing that the Goldman Sachs taught me to do, and it's kind of late in the game for me to actually look at that a little harder, is, which I already knew, but I got a chance to be with 33 of us ended up finishing, and the numbers don't lie. So in other words, I crunch my numbers. I can run them off the top of my head. I wasn't really all that exact, but I was always like, yeah, but I see this and I see that. And by the end of that course, it was very clear to me, if you don't know nothing else, the numbers tell the whole story. It's really that simple. But it's hard, being who you are, whether you're an altruistic person or whether you're a greedy person or whatever your end game is, you try to look at the end game. As most people who are business owners, they look at the end game. They look at the big picture, but you still got to look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. So that's the one thing out of all the things that I learned there. Is you crunch them numbers or whatever they say, that's it. You want to tell the story of your company, I can go all the way back to 2008 to when we incorporated, even back to 1989 when I first started. And I can look at numbers every quarter and I can kind of predict what's going to happen every year percentage-wise because they don't lie.
Erik, this is probably just a question for me. Is there any seasonality to your business?
Yes, there is. Usually from January till about April or May or so, even maybe December, things kind of take off. During the summer, they tail off a little bit. September, they pick back up. and that's just the way it is. Right now, it's a little different because we got this big boom and all, but this big boom and all, history shows eventually it levels off.
Sure. I'm gonna take a quick break. We're not gonna get off. I'm just going to tell my audience a little bit about Promethean Credit Counseling. So we were talking. I did a video the other day talking about how to determine whether or not you were with a good credit repair company. So want to talk to you guys about credit repair really quickly. A lot of people think this industry is a sleazy one because there have been a lot of companies who have taken advantage of people. I'm not telling you to come to Promethean Credit Counseling. You can go to any company you want, but get professional help, seek professional help. And if you're seeking professional help and you want to know if the credit repair or credit counseling company that you're with is reputable, first things first, that company should have some way for you to see them. They definitely need to have a website. They definitely need to have a phone number. If they don't have those things, if the only way to contact them is through social media, then I would suggest, it's just a suggestion, but I would suggest that you stay away from them. The other thing is you want to make sure that they have legal agreements that they have you sign prior to you starting the service. If they don't have a legal agreement, and that legal agreement is binding you to a contract, but it's also binding them to a contract, I would stay away from those. And then the biggest piece of advice I can give people for looking for a credit repair / credit counseling agency is if they have a no contract obligation. So you want to be with a company that says you can stop paying for their service whenever you want. Some companies out there will tell you you need to be with them 6 months, a year. Those companies I would stay away from, because if you're not getting the results that you want to be able to cut ties and run. So I'm not overly promoting any one service over the other. However, Promethean Credit Counseling, if you want to come to us, you can do so by contacting us at 215-904-8690. You can also reach us on the web at promethean.com. That's PREMISIEN. And so yeah, Erik, what advice would you give somebody who was getting ready to start an electrical business? What advice would you give them?
The advice that I would give them is I would assume that they've already been in the business and been working for someone else, or at least working with someone else. I would advise them to grab a mentor.
Oh, grab a mentor. So that's probably sage advice for any business. Is grab. So let's talk about that. Have you ever had issues getting mentors, communicating with mentors?
Another loaded question. So during the age when I started, people were like so worried about the competition that they didn't feel comfortable sharing, because they may see somebody quote unquote sharp and they don't want them to take their people away, whatever. So yes, initially I did have that, but by the same token, when I was coming up as an electrician, believe it or not, in the commercial realm, there's a lot of black electricians or urban electricians that people don't know about and people claim don't exist. And I had the privilege of being involved with an organization and with people like that who welcomed me, and I got a chance to learn from them. Now, most of them were not business owners, but I took everything I learned from them, and my mindset may have been a little different, where I always inevitably knew that I wasn't going to work for nobody too long. But they still, just the same, taught me a whole lot about the industry as a worker and about working with the trades, and in particularly competing in a biased industry. um, and overcoming it. Because if you grew up in, I was fortunate because my parents exposed me to a lot. So I quote unquote never went to the neighborhood school, even though I was in the public school system. I was always in an environment where I got a chance to see all types of people. But a lot of us who grow up in an urban environment, until we get grown, we don't see nobody but people who look like and act like us, and it's like a culture shock when you get out there, and it's like you and everybody else is different, and you gotta be able to deal with that to a certain degree on their level.
Yeah.
Because you can't bring it them to your level. You're the new person on the block.
So yeah, yeah. So yeah, I have always had difficulty getting mentors. And like I said, I said this to you. We belong to a networking group, and I said this in a networking group, and now I'll say it for the rest of the audience. So I have always had difficulty getting mentors because I grew up in predominantly single parent household with a mother, and I'm an only child. So and then I only have aunts, no uncles. So and then I only have daughters. So all of the voices in my life are female, right? That's the soundtrack of my background. And so when men come along who want to give me advice, I have trouble hearing it because there's a different wavelength, there's a different cadence that women operate. There's a different energy that women operate on from men, and so it's not native to me. So I have to really force myself to be able to have a mentor who is male. But there have been a lot of men who've come in my life and tried to give me advice, and it felt abrasive to me because of me, not because of them. And so, but I know the value, Erik, of having a mentor, somebody who has been through the experiences that you're going to go through, or even if they haven't been through the experiences, can be able to see in your blind spot. There's some things that someone can see looking from the outside that you can't see while you're standing inside. So yeah, that advice is really great for mentorship. And I would tell people, force your way through it. Whatever challenges that you have getting a mentor, force your way through it and get to a mentor as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities in mentorship nowadays. You have the SBA, which offers, now they have all kinds of satellite offices in the communities, and in particular they have offices where it may be a CDV or a CDC, Community Development Corp, or something like that, who's working on their behalf, who is already familiar with that community and already, for lack of a better word, putting their thing down in that community, so they can tailor their help towards what you need. So you never overlook that, and they can also put you with people. And one thing I would say is get an opportunity to mentor people actually helps you grow as a mentor too. And some of the younger businesses have a different perspective or things to offer that actually help you as the mentor. The mentee can teach you.
And so I was just getting ready to say, so I charge everybody, become a mentor to somebody. Somebody out there needs it. It doesn't matter what capacity, whether it's a business, whether it's their personal life. I charge everyone to get a mentee, help somebody else through life, because some people don't know that they need it, and some people aren't comfortable going out and seeking mentors. I had a friend of mine used to say that mentees choose mentors, mentors don't choose mentees. However, mentors have to avail themselves, and so it's the old adage, right? When the teacher is ready, the student will appear.
That's true.
They may say it backwards, right? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Either way, when you prepare yourself, somebody is going to be able to take advantage of whatever you have to offer.
It's also fulfilling too. I believe it's very fulfilling. You've talked to me before, and a lot of times you'll go out for some cocktails or different things, and some of the people who know me, they want to talk about uh, some of the things that we talk about when the brothers get together as in the hood, and all I want to talk about is indirectly bringing our community at another level. And I'm not Martin Luther King, I'm not Malcolm X, but I like to be in a position to support them either financially or help people to be able to support them with owning your own business. And that's all I talk about. And sometimes people don't want to hear it, but that's where I am.
We truly appreciate you. So Erik, whenever we bring a guest on, we ask the guest to give us a tip in their industry. So I want you to give somebody an electrical tip, something that they can look out for either in their homes or their businesses that would help them with their electric or help prevent something from happening with their electric.
The biggest thing that I see right now, and I'm sure you've seen it on the news and everything everywhere, is people are so into saving money on their heating bill by using, wow, if I do this one more time, by using their space heaters.
So Erik, that's what happens when you're in the gym. You got muscles that you didn't even know you had. They start. I never had that problem. You see, if you just stay like that, you wouldn't have that issue.
I hope y'all can hear me through that. But space heaters are not your friend. I mean, I hope that nobody sells space heaters for a living who's listening, but it's just they don't save you a whole lot of money. A lot of time the breaker will keep tripping, and if you're not careful with them, they will start fires. I would say, you're not saving that much money by saying, I'm just going to turn this space heater on in this room because I'm cold, and then you fall asleep, and then, a blanket or something gets close to it. And we see it on the news all the time, and they say, oh, these space heaters are unsafe. And there's no way the equipment is unsafe. It's the way that people use it. So the easiest way is just eliminate them. If you got heat in your house, keep it on. That's what you work for, to pay your bills.
Oh, man. Listen, I got to run home.
I mean, I have to be honest. You ask me a question, I have to give what I think.
And listen,
save that much money. People, oh man, it must be so. I just had an incident where in one of my offices, that we have two offices, by the way, in the area, and the young lady who's the office manager had pointed out to our HR person that there must be something wrong with this microwave because it keeps tripping the breaker every time I have the space heater on. And I said, tell her that I will pull that space heater out of there if she keeps running it again because I don't like space heaters. But I'm going to let her go because she's at work. But they're not your friend.
Listen, man, it's perfectly fine that we having real talk. That's a really great tip. And I know everybody in my community, right? The Black and brown community, that's our thing, right? Who turned my heat up? I'm in my daughter's in the house, and I'm like, yo, we gotta keep the heat around 60. Put on a sweatshirt. We got 22 space heaters going.
That's much more expensive, but you can't tell them that. And I'm like, wow.
Can't say nothing, man. So yeah, I'm gonna go and turn. I gotta turn the space heater off, man. Oh man. And so you told the story. I like whenever somebody gives a tip, I like for them to follow that up with a story about a client who might have done that or not done that, and so you gave us the story about this person. So yeah, man, this electric thing is a big deal. What licensing? So an electrician getting into the business,
Mm-hmm.
what licensing should they be looking for? What legal things should they have in place before they take on their first client?
Before they take on their first client, depending on where they are, they should have at the very least a home improvement license at the state of Pennsylvania. The Attorney General's office.
Okay, home improvement license at minimum.
Yeah, if they're in Philly, they should have a Philly electrical contractor's license.
Okay.
If
All
they're
right.
in, say, Delaware County, depending on which county they're in, they should have a license in that area. So you definitely want to have a license. Now, with that license, you need insurance. You know what I mean? And I'm glad because that forces people to have insurance. Because I mean, things happen, unfortunately, and not saying that people try to sue you, but if you have insurance, I can't say it's not your problem, but that's what you pay for insurance for. Just like when you're in a car accident, you know, someone wants to hold you responsible and fuss at you and all that. But if you weren't in wrong, if you weren't under the influence, you know, even if you made a wrong turn or whatever, it's called an accident, not an on purpose. So God forbid if it's a bad splice or whatever, which we have never been in that, where a house burned down and nobody got hurt and it came back to us. But if it did, it's still an accident. It ain't on purpose. As long as we have human error, and as we've learned over the years, machines make errors too, even though nobody wants to admit it. But that falls back to the human is the one who created it, created the program that has a glitch in it. Mm-hmm. So human error is an accident. So that's what you have insurance for.
So Eric, I see electricians, or no, not I see. It was suggested that if you're getting an electrician, they should be licensed, bonded, and insured. So we know what the license is. That's a license to operate in the city and or state that you're in, right?
Yes.
We know what insurance is. That is, in case of an accident, like you said, the insurance company will pay instead of you having to pay out of your pocket from the company. Mm-hmm. What is bonding?
Well, that internet sometimes is something where you want to put a stranglehold on it and throw it away. Bonding is difficult for someone to get. And bonding is, so just say, for instance, I won't get too into detail, but that's one other thing that is the negative side of business. You will have a lot of unpaid invoices, unfortunately. And I'm sure you know that too, Kevin. So bonding, if you have a large job, sometimes you're required to be bonded. Even if you're not, it's a good idea to be bonded, because if you have to go to court or whatever, the bonding is already up there so that if it's proven that you win, you get paid. Period. The people, they don't do what they're supposed to do, whatever. The bonding is the money that's sitting there waiting to cover the job. It's not realistic. You know, I'm in somebody's house and we rewire it and do a couple things. Just say a 4,000 square foot house, and we charge, say, $40,000 to rewire it, put this great big service in, start soup to nuts from beginning to end. We're not going to use bonding for that, because that you pay a lot of money. You know, just say you pay $1,600 for a $40,000 bond. It's not realistic. You pay $1,600 for a $5 million bond. That's realistic.
Got you. Yeah. Okay. So bonding. I know that it's different for every industry. In my industry, bonding just certifies that the company is operating under the legal standards that their state has set forth. Okay. So the bonding company is just certifying that this company is operating under the legal standards. But it's different for different companies, and so
there's nothing wrong with it. Trust me when I say it. If you can get bonding, but I can tell you, it took me a number of years to be able to get bonding, and I would say to date, I can count on one hand how many times bonding not necessarily came into play, but I even needed it to secure that job.
Gotcha. Eric, this has been great information. We're gonna start to close out the show, but we like to do what we call our fast four. We're going to ask you 4 questions. I want you to answer them quickly, but clearly. Ready?
Ready.
A book that has had a huge impact on you, either personally or professionally, or both.
Why do white guys have all the fun?
I just finished reading that book. That is my uncle. I call him Unc. That's Unc. Reginald Lewis. Graduated from my alma mater, by the way.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Of Virginia State University. Reginald Lewis. Yeah. Why should white guys have all the fun? Great book. Great book. All right. Cool. A tool or resource that has been very effective for you in your business.
QuickBooks online.
QuickBooks online. Doing your taxes. Keeping your books. Doing your bookkeeping. All right. Let's do a challenge that you've had to overcome in your business.
Hiring people that I know rather than people most qualified.
Oh, I'm gonna let you expound upon that. So hiring people you know versus people who are more qualified. Talk about that just a little bit.
So what happens is basically you hire who you feel comfortable with within reason, but you have to hire the person that's best qualified for the job. Because the one thing I've learned, if nothing else, you see all this potential or you see the finished product. It's just like, I'll have to say this with kid gloves. It's just like when a woman or a male sees somebody and they say, I'm going to marry them or I'm going to this or whatever, and they're looking at the finished product and who's before them, and then they get upset when they don't turn into what they wanted them to. So it's the same principle. If this is a good friend of yours, a family or whatever, you like, I see so much potential. I know what they can do. Oh man, I'm going to hire them and I'm going to mold them. You ain't going to mold them.
Right. Good point. All right. What is one thing that you wish you'd learned earlier in life that would have helped you in your later life?
One thing that I learned earlier in life that would have helped.
Wish you learned earlier in life.
The numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
100%.
But I want to say this, but we can manipulate numbers to paint whatever picture we want. And so people say that all the time. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And that's the truth. However, I can paint a picture any way I like. Like, I can say to you that there are more Black men in prison than there are in college, right? And I can get numbers to support that. What they don't say is that there are, with graduate degrees, there are more Black men who are in prison than have graduate degrees, but not in. If you count the community colleges, you count the secondary schools, the private colleges. That's not true. But you're 100% correct as far as your business is concerned. Learn the numbers, and the numbers will tell you and give you a pretty accurate picture of how you're running the business. I think that's the way you're saying it, right?
Exactly. I agree with that 100%. That's what it is. I mean, so you said that the numbers can be manipulated. That's true, but we can't lie to ourselves.
Yes, that's the truth.
Or manipulate to ourselves. I'm sorry. I try not to say that word.
Can't manipulate. I'm going to throw one extra question in there in honor of Women's History Month. This is March represents Women's History Month, and we want to give a shout out to all of the beautiful ladies.
Yes.
Yeah. Give me one woman who's had a huge impact in your life, living or dead, notable or not.
The Black Rose, Madam C.J. Walker.
Sweet. Madam C.J. Walker. Pioneer. Great. She's the first Black female millionaire in the country. So, good deal. Erik, it has been an absolute privilege to have you on the show. Before we let you go, just want you to tell the people where they can find you if they need the services. Tell them how they can connect with you.
Oh, thank you. So my name for my company is Just It's Electric. We're in West Philly. We're also in Claymont, Delaware. Our number is 215-473-JUST. We're at www.justitselectric.com. We're at Just It's Electric. What is that?
Instagram.
Instagram. Also Facebook. Also one more. Twitter. LinkedIn. What's the last one would be? We have a YouTube page also. So that's the good thing about 10 people. I'm running off some things that I oversee, but I can't give you all the information on them without going and looking on my cell phone and reading it off.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's when you have people, you can forget some stuff. That's good. That's good. But I want to answer this question. Just It's Electric. That's a very interesting name. How did you come about the name Just It's Electric?
Well, so when I was undergrad, maybe a little before that, I used to DJ. And that song, it's electric. That's what I started out with my company. I also did real estate. I did the personal training, and I did electric. And I had all this mixed in, and I did the one no that you shouldn't do. I did my taxes myself. So after I got audited using TurboTax and all, after I got audited, I hired a guy who I'm still with, and he told me I needed to separate stuff. So Just It's Electric is the electrical part, and It's Electric is really no more, but that was the real estate for a while, and the personal training is just me.
Got you. Erik Truxon, Just It's Electric. Again, you can find them at justitselectric.com. It's Truxon at Just It's Electric if you're emailing. And give them the phone number one more time.
215, simple enough, 473-JUST.
Awesome. Erik,
5878.
we appreciate you being on here, man. Thank you for being in my network of people. We'll certainly have you back on again. We'll talk again. And before we let everybody go, just want to let you guys know we are the Biz Breaks Podcast here every Thursday on the Cosmos Radio Network USA. We appear at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have real talk with real entrepreneurs. You can catch we may be moving to a different day and time in April. We'll stay tuned for that. You can find us on the YouTube page. That's where we want everybody to go. You can find us on our YouTube page. This is live stream, and you can see the playbacks there. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/Promisien Credit Counseling. It's PREMISIEN. And you can catch us on the Cosmo Radio Network USA YouTube channel as well. Stay tuned until next Thursday when we have another real talk with a real entrepreneur.